In a small village surrounded by dusty roads and quiet fields, there lived a young girl named Anya. The village was peaceful, but it had one big problem. There was no school library. In fact, there were barely any books at all. The children in the village were curious and eager to learn, but without books, their world felt small. They only knew what they saw around them, the fields, the market, and the same narrow streets they walked every day. Anya loved learning more than anything. Whenever she heard stories from travelers or teachers, her eyes would shine with excitement. She wished she could read many books and discover new ideas about the world. One afternoon, Anya visited the nearby town with her father. While walking through the town, she saw something amazing, a large building filled with shelves and shelves of books. It was a library. Children sat quietly reading colorful books. Some were learning about animals, some about history, and others about faraway countries. Anya stood there in awe. She walked slowly through the rows of books, touching the covers gently. Each book seemed to hold a new world inside it. On the way home, she felt both excited and sad. Excited because she had seen a place full of knowledge, but sad because her own village had nothing like it. That night, Anja thought deeply. If our village has no books, she wondered, does that mean we cannot have a library? Suddenly, an idea appeared in her mind. The next day, Anya went to the oldest person in the village, an elderly grandfather who had lived there for many decades and had experienced many things in life. "Grandfather," Anya asked politely, "can you tell me a story about your life?" The grandfather smiled warmly and began to speak. He told her about the time he had traveled across mountains to trade goods, about the storms he had survived, and the lessons he had learned from many years of hard work. Anya listened carefully. The stories were fascinating. She realized that the grandfather's experiences were just like the stories she had seen in the books at the town library. Later that evening, she gathered the children of the village under a large banyan tree. "I have an idea," she told them. "Since we don't have books, we will create a different kind of library, a library of stories." The children looked confused. Anya explained her plan. "Every evening, we will invite someone from the village to share their life stories, experiences, and lessons. The farmers, the shopkeepers, the elders, the travelers, everyone has something valuable to teach." Soon the idea began to spread. That evening, the grandfather came and shared stories about courage and perseverance. The next day, a farmer explained how patience and hard work helped crops grow. Another day, a tailor shared how careful practice helped him master his craft. A grandmother told stories about kindness and helping neighbors during difficult times. Every evening, the banyan tree became a place full of stories, laughter, and learning. The children listened carefully and asked many questions. Slowly, their understanding of the world began to grow. Months passed, and something wonderful happened. Visitors from nearby villages heard about the library without books and came to share their own experiences too. One traveler spoke about the oceans he had seen. Another talked about big cities filled with tall buildings. A teacher shared lessons about science and discovery. The village that once had no books had now become a place full of knowledge. One day, a visitor from the town heard about Anya's idea. He was so inspired that he helped bring real books to the village. Soon, the children finally had a small library building. But even then, the storytelling under the banyan tree never stopped. Because the villagers had learned something very important. Books contain knowledge, but so do people. And sometimes, the greatest lessons in life are written not on paper, but in the experiences we share with one another. Moral of the story is, knowledge does not only live in books. Every person carries stories, lessons, and wisdom that can teach us something valuable.